the MintySynth for MIDI is the MIDI output is not turned on automatically when you make it, which would have saved me a couple of days and talking to people and so forth until I read the instruction manual. So what you need to do is hold button 2 while powering on the device. So if you press and hold that one, you might have noticed the red and the yellow are flashing together, and that means it's on the higher baud rate. There's 3 states. There's off, there's the lower baud rate, which is used by MIDI, and higher one if you want to use the programming header like serial interface. To change it, you basically turn it off, hold button 2, turn it back on, and you can see the yellow one flash. I believe that's off. We're looking for the red one flashing. So the red one's flashing, and that should be fine. Fridges are started up, which is never a good sign. So here are the parts you're going to need. 1. Your MintySynth. Now you should have had this built by now. If not, you can watch my videos again. A USB to Midi adapter. Now these can be picked up fairly cheaply on the internet. Expect to pay no more than about £4 or about $6. eBay is your best bet. A 3-pin servo extension cable. Now this is optional, as you could use just header pins, but this keeps it nicely connected, and also the colour code works out well on this one, as it's red in the centre, black ground, and white is the sort of transmission line of the data. 2 resistors. Now these are 270 ohm. I have tried doing the project with 220 ohm, but had communication problems with the MIDI software. A Midi Jack, also known as a DIN socket. This is a 5-pin variant. Can be had online fairly cheaply. Just make sure the solder terminal was on the back. A project box. Anything can be really used just to hold your kit together. You can even build it on breadboard, but for something nice and permanent, this should be good. These can be sourced online, not very expensive, a few pounds or a few dollars. Comes with mounting kit for a PCB and the necessary hardware to attach it together. Heat shrink tubing of varying sizes. Doesn't need to be heat shrink tubing, you can always use insulation tape, but if you have it, there we go. Couple of jumper cables with the pin connector tops. Now these are optional, but it will allow us to use 5-volt wall power to power our MintySynth instead of battery. Start by cutting the right end off the servo extension cable. Leave a little bit on in case you ever want to reuse it. Next, thin and strip the cable ends. Helps if you have nails for this. If not, you can flick them apart with a small knife. Next, strip off about 5mm of sleeving from each cable. Then twist the ends together. This will stop the wires from fraying when being soldered. Next, tin all 3 cables. Just add solder to them until there's a nice covering. Don't worry about it being messy. We will sort that out later. Next, solder resistors on to both the positive and the transmission line. Next, solder the cable to the DIN socket in this order. Miss a pin, positive, negative, signal. So on my cable it goes red, black, signal. Cut the ends off some old jumper cables and then attach. So once you have your cable all wired up, you can then stick it into a nice control box. Now this is the cable which goes in here and literally comes out here. I then added a USB power jack, which is a mini breakout board. I'm not sure if the camera's picking up. Yep. Mini breakout board, and that will power the MintySynth. And that's really all that's in this box. I also added a little power indicator LED. As it's 5 volts in, I just used a 270 ohm resistor, which I had spare of, and putting that in line. It recommended around about I think about 180 milliamps. It doesn't really matter, makes it a little bit dimmer. So you're looking for the 3 flashes of the red LED, which was normal baud rate of MIDI. Now the cable, as we explained earlier, you can plug it in. There's no wrong way of plugging it. Luckily the voltage is on the middle, so it shouldn't do too much problems. Don't quote me on that. So we got the TX, the voltage and the ground. That plugs into the 3-pin header at the top of the MintySynth. We then have these 2 cables, which is the power. You can take the let's take the batteries out for a moment. Reason is because it's a multiple switch. Obviously when it's down it's off and then into battery mode, but reversed when plugging into external power supply. Now brown I've chosen as negative, which will plug into the lower pin, and then orange, which is a nice lively colour, goes in from the black, which is ground, not the second but the 3rd one up, just under RX and then TX, with green at the top. So that is basically the MintySynth wired up. Now I have this a little bit wrong way round, but USB power is coming in here, which I can plug into here. Make sure I turn on wall point. We have the power LED, and now if we turn this off, you can see the MintySynth is working basically. So you would obviously not have this powered up before plugging in the cable. You'd plug in the cable, and with the USB cable it's as simple as plugging it in. It will install its own drivers, and then you use whatever MIDI software you like. Now I was thinking of showing how to use MIDI software, but I literally only started playing around with it a few days ago. There's 101 better people and videos on YouTube explaining how to use things like FL Studio, even Anvil Studio. FL Studio I've been using now. It seems a very polished item, even for the sort of free version of it. If you're just getting into MIDI, I think the basic version is around about £90, going all the way up to a few hundred. But if you just want to try it out, it's all there. So definitely worth looking into. I have been very happy with this, plugged into MIDI software, into sort of studio software. You can make it sound like a piano, to cat noises and gunshots and everything in between. So for a few pounds to make one of these boxes, you don't have to make the box. I was on a short show how to make one of these, but it's literally drilling holes and putting wires together. So in the other part of the video, whether it be before or after, I will just show you what you basically need. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm getting up there to 1,000 subs. So when we hit that mark, might think of a giveaway. Any ideas of what I can give away for 1,000 subs, or what would be suitable for a giveaway to 1,000 subs? Let me know. So, like if you like, dislike if you don't like, I guess, if you really want to. Subbing is free and all my content is free, so knock yourself out and watch some of the older stuff. It would really help me out too. So, until next time, I'm a duty paid. Take care and goodbye.